Today, we're shopping at the Restore. They have the most inexpensive items. I can't wait to see what we find. If you've never shopped at the Restore before, they have a lot of old building supplies like light fixtures, furniture, cabinetry, tile, and they're at really affordable prices. So I love to go here and see what items I can find to DIY and add them to my home. We've walked around the entire Restore and there's not too many items here, but one item they always have is a bunch of tiles. I have several ideas that I'm excited to try. I found these tiles. Now, typically you would see these on your backsplash in your kitchen or your bathroom. We're gonna get 2 of these for a DIY. Now I bought several tiles. This first tile was a multi-tile and they ended up being a little bit more expensive. These tiles were $6 each. So I bought 2 for this vase project. One tile wasn't long enough to create a vase, so I knew that I needed to add 2 tiles together. So to do this, I was kind of going back and forth on how to connect these 2 tiles. I had this product called Pull Wrap and they sell it at most big box stores, but what this product does is it bends, and I thought maybe that would help it curve around the vase that I want to do. So I E6000 the Pull Wrap to the 2 tiles to connect them. Then I put a ton of E6000 on the back of the tiles. And I wrapped it around my glass vase. To hold it until it had a chance to dry, I wrapped it with some painter's tape. One of my tiles fell off that was connected to the pull wrap, so I did E6000 that tile back on, and then I wrapped it with some additional painter's tape and let it dry overnight. Now, when I was at the Restore, I found some grout for $5. That's what I'm gonna put in between the tiles. So I just mixed my grout with some water in a bowl till it was more of a kind of thick pudding consistency. So I used this large popsicle stick to put the grout in between the tiles. I wanted to push as much grout in between the tiles without getting it all over my tiles because I knew I was going to have to wipe away the excess. Once I had that in-between area covered, I came back in and tried to remove as much of the grout as possible. Then I used a wet paper towel and a wet microfiber towel to pull off any excess grout. Once you have all of the grout removed from your tiles, you want to let this set again overnight so that it can dry completely. Now the next day, if you need to add more grout, you can. I felt like my vase looked pretty good. And then you can just add in some of your favorite florals. These are florals that I picked up at Pop Shelf. I love how they look in this vase. It's so cute. I love having it out. I've been seeing this dark furniture all over Pottery Barn's site, as well as some of the high-end stores. Take a look at this tile. I love the brown colors. This is very in this year, and it's huge. I'm gonna turn this into a table. I've been walking around looking for some legs to create a table with. Now I spotted these and we looked them up online. They're actually a wood replacement handle for a tool. They're $5 each, so we're gonna pick these up as leg bases. I measured one of my other side tables to see about how tall it was, so I knew kind of the height to make the legs. I marked each of the legs where I wanted to cut them down. Then I used my miter saw to cut the legs down to size. Now from there, I wanted to sand them down because I was going to restain them, so I just used my orbital sander and sanded down all 4 of the legs. I also needed a wood piece to act kind of as a tabletop. So for my tabletop, in one of my previous projects, we did a whole butcher block countertop for a desk and 2 shelves in my office makeover. And we had to cut off the back half of that. So I have a bunch of scrap butcher block, and I thought that would be perfect for this project, and it's amazing wood. But you could use any wood that you have on hand or get some scrap wood at the ReStore. So I cut my wood down to size. I wanted it to be about an inch shorter than this really cool brown tile that I found when I was shopping at the ReStore. And the tile is actually what's going to go on the top of this table. Next, I need to attach my legs to that butcher block top. So to do this, I'm gonna be using these cabinet screws. They are a little bit longer. You can pick them up at any big box stores. So I'm gonna mark where I want to drill holes in the 4 corners of my butcher block. I'm also going to drill a hole in the center of my legs. Then using the cabinet screws, I'm gonna screw it down from the top and then making sure that I screw the legs underneath. Now the screws you will be able to see on the top of the butcher block, but don't worry because we're going to cover it with the tile. I'm gonna do this on all 4 corners. Now before I added on the tile, I wanted to stain the wood pieces. So I'm just gonna be using this natural stain color because I really like the light wood look. So I'm just going to be placing the stain on with a paper towel and at the same time removing any excess. Now for the tile to get it ready, I wanted to paint the edges because the edges of tiles are unfinished. So I had this espresso brown color and I'm just gonna use a foam brush and paint it all around the edge, and I'll let that dry. Once that dried, I added some E6000 to the top of the butcher block and then placed the tile on. I let it dry overnight, and here's how it looks in my home. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Comment the word of the day, which is DIY. So I want to make a tray for my coffee table, and I love the shape of these. Now I can't decide which one I want to get. Are we going to go with the white marble, or should we change it up and go kind of with this black gray marble? Let me know which one you guys would pick, the white or the gray. I think I'm going to go gray. There are so many good tiles at my ReStore. These gray ones, love the size of them. I picked up 6 to do a tray with. Now each of these tiles were only $1 each. Great deal. And I'm going to be using these long wood pieces that you can pick up at Dollar Tree. They're $1.25 each, and for this project I'm going to need 3. Next, I put those 3 wood boards down, and I'm going to be using E6000 and hot glue to place each of the tiles down. I'm going to start on one end, place one down, and go all the way down to the other end. Now you do need to let this dry overnight so that E6000 has time to really bond. On the edges, I'm going to be using a gray paint to paint the edges and finish it off because these tiles are unfinished. And then to give it some handles, I have this like tub where I have all these different handles. So I just found these 2 gold handles. I think they were from a previous project, and I'm gonna E6000 those to the edge of my tray. I did measure them to make sure that they were about the same distance on either side, but honestly, they don't have to be perfect. And here's how this tray turned out. I absolutely love it. I spotted these tiles. I'm gonna get 5 of them for a DIY. If you've ever bought ceramic planters, they can be really expensive. Have you ever tried making your own with tile? Well, I found these gorgeous tiles. They were square. Again, these tiles were only $1. I think all of their just basic plain tiles were all $1 each. So I bought 4 to create a planter. You want to use E6000 because that's going to give you the strongest bond. And I like to kind of put it on a platter or a plate so that I can move it. Honestly, for me, it's just so I can go on to my next project. But I'm gonna put E6000 on the edges of 2 of the tiles, and then I'm gonna place the other tiles in so that on the front I just see that one tile, and then on the back I see that one tile, if that makes sense. Now you do need to hold this in place, so what I like to do is just get something that's weighted down on either side and just place it down. I was using some planters. I think I had some tubs of spackling, and you just want to place that down so it has a chance to set up and dry. And that's all you you really have to do, and then you can just place your plant down inside. When I spotted these hexagon tiles, I knew I needed to come up with a DIY for this, so I immediately thought organization. At Dollar Tree, they have these long dowel rods that they sell in a pack of 2. So I thought, what if I cut those down? So that's what I did. I used my saw to cut down about 3-inch sections. I did this 5 times, and I was going to put those onto my tile. To prep the tile, I did paint around the edges just to finish it off. Measuring to make sure that they were evenly spaced. Then I'm going to use E6000 to put a little bit on the bottom of my dowel rod, and then I'll place it in the center. Then I did the same thing by putting the other dowel rods on either side. I did put a piece of paper underneath just to make sure that they were all about the same distance and level. Again, everything with E6000, let it dry overnight. Then you can put some command strips on the back. Hang this in your closet, and it's perfect for all of your necklaces and bracelets. I'm not sure how much these tiles are gonna be. We'll definitely put the price somewhere up here, but you typically find these in your bathroom, maybe on your shower floor. You're not gonna believe the DIY I do with these. So I bought 6 of these, and my idea was, what if I created a tile rug? So to make this happen, I just used E6000 to connect them together. So I put E6000 on each of the little tiles and then placed a sheet down, and then I would put it on the side, and whatever edges the tiles were needing to connect, I would put E6000 down. So I had 3 tiles on the top and 3 tiles on the bottom. Next, I wanted to create a little fun flower pattern. Using the marker, I colored on the top of 6 tiles going in a circle, leaving the center one white. And I did that kind of staggering them throughout the tiles. This took me a little bit of time because I had to be patient and try my best not to get any of that black marker on some of the other tiles. Now, if you need more marker, if you need the color to be a little bit more saturated, you can come in and do a second coat. I let that dry, and then to make it waterproof, I'm gonna be using a matte Mod Podge on all of the tiles that I colored. So I'll just paint that on with a brush, let it dry, and here's how this rug turned out. I hope I've given you a little bit of inspiration to go thrifting in your city, and make sure you subscribe because I wanna see you back here, and I'll see you in our next one. Bye.